It is no secret that the American dollar is considered one of the main reserve currencies in the world and is used by many countries for mutual settlements, but in the USSR the American dollar was banned for a long time. In 1927, the USSR leadership banned the private currency market and introduced a state monopoly on it. Before that, it was possible to buy, sell and store currencies of other countries without hindrance. 10 years later, Article 25 appeared in the Criminal Code, which equated illegal currency transactions with a state crime. In the early 1950s, Stalin even wanted to create a bloc of states that would completely abandon the dollar, but this idea failed. In 1961, a new criminal code came into force, Article 88 of which provided for imprisonment for a term of 3 to 8 years with confiscation of property for illegal currency transactions. Only the state bank could carry out currency transactions. Only a limited number of people who had received permission to temporarily travel abroad were allowed to buy currency at the rate of 90 kopecks per dollar. As a rule, these were diplomats, members of the party elite, sailors, athletes or artists. The exchange took place only in bank branches and strictly until 12 noon. Several people were allowed into the bank at a time, and at the entrance, 2 police officers checked for permission to travel abroad. At the same time, no more than 30 rubles could be exchanged, that is, $33 could be bought. Upon returning to the country, the remaining currency had to be handed over to the bank within a few days. Beginning in the 1950s, hundreds of thousands of foreign citizens began to visit the Soviet Union, who arrived with currency and could exchange it at the official rate in bank branches or at hotel cash desks. At that time, the black market flourished in the USSR, where imported goods, gold and, of course, currency were sold. There was such a market in every large city. In Moscow it was located in the area of Pushkin Square, near the Moscow and National hotels. If in 1897 $1 cost 2 rubles, then after the revolution of 1917 it already cost 72 rubles. The monetary reform of 1924 reduced the dollar exchange rate to 2 rubles 22 kopecks, and after the reform of 1961 to 90 kopecks, and every year the official dollar exchange rate decreased down to 60 kopecks. However, this rate was artificially low. It was not for nothing that dollars were exchanged in meager quantities and only to a limited circle of people at a loss to the state. Tourists were in no hurry to exchange dollars in the state bank for 90 kopecks, since currency speculators, also known as black marketeers, offered 5 to 6 times more for a dollar on the black market, and having added their profit, they sold it for 8 to 10 rubles. Soviet citizens flying abroad were forced to buy dollars at this rate, because $33 bought at the official rate were not enough for anything. The police initially fought against currency speculators and then the KGB. In addition, in 1961, on Khrushchev's orders, amendments were made to Article 88. Now, the death penalty was provided for illegal currency transactions on an especially large scale. That same year, Yan Rokotov, Vladislav Fabashenko and Dmitry Yakovlev were put on show trial and sentenced to death. This scared the rest of the speculators and the volume of the black market decreased. Article 88 was repealed only in 1994, several years after the collapse of the USSR. The restriction on the purchase of foreign currency was lifted. As a result, the Soviet Union, which predicted the collapse of the American dollar every year, collapsed itself. Subscribe to the channel. There will be much more interesting things ahead.